हेलो फ्रेंड्स, इंडिया पाकिस्तान न्यूज़ चैनल में आपका फिर से स्वागत है। आज हम बात करने वाले हैं एक बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक पे। हम बात करने वाले हैं ऋषि सुनक के बारे में। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि बोरिस जॉनसन ने एमपी की रेस से ड्रॉप कर दिया है और ऋषि सुनक ही फ्रंट कंटेंडर बन चुके हैं। हम उसके बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। अब आगे आने वाले वीडियो में हम दो चीज़ें सुनेंगे। पहली वो वाला दिन जिस दिन पार्लियामेंट में लिज ट्रस ने रिज़ाइन किया था, तो पार्लियामेंट में क्या क्या हुआ। साथ ही साथ हम ये भी सुनेंगे उन्हीं के पार्टी मेंबर से कि ऋषि सुनक का उनकी पार्टी में क्या स्टैंड है। उन्होंने किस तरीके से 100+ एमपीज़ का अपने पीछे सपोर्ट इकट्ठा किया है और बोरिस जॉनसन का किस तरीके से पार्टी के अंदर जो स्ट्रॉन्ग है वो लूज़ होता गया है और फाइनली उन्होंने ड्रॉप किया। ध्यान में रखने वाली बात ये ज़रूर है कि ये वीडियो बोरिस जॉनसन की न्यूज़ आने से पहले रिकॉर्ड किया गया है, बट स्टिल ये आपको इनसाइट ज़रूर देगा कि क्या हो रहा है पार्टी के अंदर। तो इस वीडियो को ज़रूर देखें, मुझे यकीन है आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आएगी। साथ ही साथ चैनल को लाइक, सब्सक्राइब एंड शेयर भी करें।
सुना कि आप उस दिन पार्लियामेंट में मौजूद थी जिस दिन ये सब कुछ हुआ, तो हमें तो पता चला कि वहां पे बड़ा झगड़ा भी हुआ है, बहुत ज्यादा एक ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट था कि जिसमें बहुत कुछ हुआ। मैं चाहूंगी आप थोड़ा सा बताइएगा कि जिस दिन ये हुआ है और उसके बाद उन्होंने कहा जी प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कि मैं रिजाइन कर रही हूँ, तो उस दिन पार्लियामेंट के अंदर क्या स्टोरी थी? क्या
I shall. So basically, it was that whole day on Wednesday. It was really tense because that vote, they were called for something which is a 3-line whip. In which case, if you vote against the government, you will lose the whip in the party, so you can't be an MP for that party. For example, अगर आप एक PMLN के MP हैं, 3-line whip में अगर आपने PMLN के साथ वोट नहीं की, वो आप उनके MP नहीं रह सकते. So that was the stakes. It was very high stakes. And then around half an hour before the vote, the word broke out that it was no longer whipped, so you could vote however you wanted. This vote was important because it was on like an environmental issue that everyone really cared about, and this was the last thing you wanted to be a government confidence vote, but they said it was one. It was then that the chief whip herself did not know about this messaging, so in the Commons lobby, she said to have resigned then and there, with the Prime Minister running after her, asking her not to resign. And that's why the Prime Minister didn't vote herself, which is incredible. Is it missing your own confidence vote? And then a lot of MPs did not want to take part in this vote because, again, it's such a serious issue. We want to promote green energy. There was a lot of emotion in the air and a lot of forcefulness into making sure everyone votes. And that type of atmosphere is, I don't know what the word for toxic is, but that day was like that in Parliament.
Now, what are the chances of Mr. Rishi Sunak? Because Mr. Boris Johnson is coming back. We heard about that he's coming back.
He has come back. Okay, so Rishi is going to be fine if Boris does not get 100 votes from the MPs. If Boris has 100 MP nominations, as Rishi's already surpassed 100 nominations, he's fine.
143.
It's above 150 now, Mother.
Okay.
So when it goes to a membership ballot, the members more likely than not will vote for Boris Johnson. That is a problem because he's also under investigation with the Privileges Committee on misleading the House over Partygate. Worst case scenario is that Boris wins, he becomes PM, he's found guilty, he's no longer an MP, we have another leadership contest in 4 to 6 weeks. That's like a nightmare scenario for us.
Okay. So, Michelle, I heard that establishment and people are against Rishi Sunak because he's gone.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say people in the city, people in the market, people in the whole party, the MPs are firmly behind Rishi Sunak. He is getting the backing of MPs from the far right and the far left of the party. He is appearing to unite everybody. He got the backing of Lord Frost, which is a huge achievement because Lord Frost is an ardent Brexiteer Steve Baker is another MP who is very strong in the European Research Group, again, very pro-Brexit. And on the other side, he's got people like Tobias Ellwood, who are very much centrist, One Nation conservatives. So he's getting backing from all sides of the party, which Boris is not. The issue with Rishi is that
Michelle, I have a question.
are very much likely not.
Please, Shama, if you want to.
Yeah, I
Far
have
away.
a question about Nadeem Zahawi, because Nadeem Zahawi was the man who backstabbed Boris, and now he's endorsing Boris. So why it is so?
At the end of the day, if you're looking at patterns, and I love maths and patterns, you can see a clear divide between the MPs in the south and the MPs in the north. And Nadeem Zahawi is an MP in the West Midlands. That area, the West Midlands, the Red Wall, owe their seats to Boris. And Boris won them the election in 2019. My point of view personally is that Nadeem said it because he wants to save the seat. But that's just me being very cynical about him.
Okay, Michelle, what do you say if there's Boris Johnson and Mr. Rishi Sunak? So, brighter chances for Mr. Rishi or Boris Johnson?
If Boris doesn't make it through the MPs, Rishi's won. And Rishi is the sustainable candidate as the sustainable prime minister for the whole country because he's very economically sound. And he has united the parliamentary party, which is a huge challenge. So many of our leaders have been struggling with that. So he's already done that, which means he can now focus on the country. The main issue Boris has is that he will struggle to unite the parliamentary party, which just presents more problems, and you become a zombie government when you don't control your own MPs. But unfortunately, Boris has a higher chance with the membership. So what Team Rishi need to do is prevent it from getting to the membership. That's their best option.
Shamari,
But Michelle, I have a question. You are saying that Rishi has united the party, but what I see that apparently I don't see it happening, because if the party is united, then why Penny is another candidate? Also, when yesterday both of them met, and there was some tweets from Faisal Islam and many other political analysts and political gurus, that the party donors of conservatives, they wanted Boris to back off, and that's why both Rishi and Boris met. However, we don't see that happening by now.
Yeah, Boris is dividing the party and he's losing our donors. Rishi isn't. When I say unite the party, I mean different spectrums of the party. We have One Nation Conservatives, we have the European Research Group. It's far right and far left and centrist wings of the party that are now all firmly backing Rishi. Penny Mordaunt being a challenger doesn't mean the party's divided. She's just someone putting herself forward to be the next leader. There's nothing wrong with that. But the donors backing out of Boris is a problem because you can't function as a political party if you have no money behind you. You can't fight an election at that rate. Which again, Rishi's the best candidate, not just more widely because he's economically sound, but within our party, he's the most sustainable one because if he goes and the funding's gone, we can't campaign. That's the worst case scenario.
Why don't you announce general elections then? Just give people the chance to.
Why would you announce a general election when your donors are backing off? That's the dumbest thing you can do. Why would you announce a general election when a recession is looming? That amount of instability.
Yeah, recession happened because of conservatives.
No, Mother, it's not happened yet. Announcing a general election will introduce more instability that the country does not need right now. We need a strong, stable leadership from our incumbent government because they can legally be in power for another 2 years. And they need to provide that stability because the country can't
which
have
they have
another
failed
leadership.
to provide yet.
For now, with hopefully Rishi coming in, they should. But the last thing the country needs is either another leadership election or another general election. That's just instability. You need someone governing the country because we're in for a tough winter.
Rishi Sunak chances are increasing
Yes.
because people and establishment is against Boris Johnson because there is some scandal or some issue which is
The
related.
issue is Partygate. Um, Boris is currently under investigation of whether or not he misled the House about Partygate. When
Michelle,
he,
can you please elaborate Partygate scandal for our viewers?
yeah, okay, Partygate was when we were in lockdown during peak coronavirus. There were several successive parties in 10 Downing Street that the Prime Minister then, Boris Johnson, claimed he had no idea of. It was later found that he himself had attended some of the parties, so clearly he knew. The investigation is whether or not he lied to the House about these parties. Now, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that he may have misled the House, which is he lied about him not knowing when he did know about Partygate. When he is found guilty, he will have he will be recalled as an MP, so he'll be removed as an MP. You can't be prime minister of a country when you're not an MP.
यानी बोरिस जॉनसन भी नाअहल होगा.
Yeah, basically that. Which is another leadership contest. And
Okay,
the rumor is the king might step in himself and call a general election at this rate. No one wants to see that.
okay. Michelle Kazi, because I heard that you was with Mr. Rishi Sunak. So if
Yes.
if he is good enough, then what is his manifesto for UK, United Kingdom?
It will be finding financial stability first and foremost. There are no tax cuts that will be imposed because tax cuts are currently unfunded. He'll probably be looking at restructuring the economy to fund our public services. That's what people need the most right now. People need support during the energy crisis, which he will provide. So we are looking at a high-spending Conservative government once he gets into power. But that's what the public needs. You need to govern for the people. You don't govern for party ideology. And I think that's what brought Liz Truss down. She was governing on party ideology when she should be serving the country.